Hello, neighbor. How are you doing? This is the last installment of the series that we've been doing. That is Glow of the Everflame. Finally, we're going to be seeing the challenging today after a very long time. Everything that we've been through the past episodes has led to this moment of the challenging. Are you ready? Okay, so let's get into the story. Please, if this is your first time joining us, it would be so recommended if you at least go back to the previous episodes before this so that you know what we're talking about. I'm just going to give a quick recap before we head into this episode. So in the last episode, we saw the aftermath of what happened after Diem's father was murdered, how she coped with the grief, how her magic training was not yielding any fruit. She could not conjure up any magic. And then eventually we saw that the night before the challenging, finally somehow she made up with Luther. She was able to at least put up a shield before the D-Day. There is a night before the D-Day, and this night Diem is trying to tie loose ends, so she goes into Motto City, but she doesn't go alone because Luther is like, no, you cannot go alone. I know you don't want me to go with you, but at least go with somebody. So that's how she ends up going with Taryn and Alex, two of the Cobra cousins. Diem takes her descended friends on a tour of Motto City. Now, Motto City has a lot of ugliness. It's filthy, loads of malnourished families. But regardless of all of these bad things there, she also takes them to the good parts too. Art places, the orphanage, that a community that don't even have much to eat. Yet the little that they have, they're giving to the orphanage for these people. So that's some good too. And she shows them the libraries, that shows that regardless of the ugliness these people are facing, they believe in light, they believe in life. And then she shows them the mortal perspective of viewing the descended and the world around them. And this makes them realize, you grew up in Motto City, you grew up in an environment this harsh. So it dawns on them, she sees this in their eyes, that it dawns on her friends that many things for don't kill her between when she was small and now, that she even made it to 20 years in one piece. That is a miracle. So they hug her tight. And then they now promise her that they're going to watch out for Motto City, even if they don't complete that statement. But we all know what that means now, with the challenge and looming overhead. So next thing, Diem goes to see Maura to say bye-bye. It's tearful. After Maura, she goes to see Henry to end things. But guess what? Henry is not at home. He went out of the realm on delivery walk, even when knowing that this might be possibly her last day on earth. It's just painful, but she just tells herself, well, maybe it's for the best. Now, on the morning of the challenging, Diem now instructs Sarai, her Griven, don't come there to defend me. Now, in the past, crowns before Diem would chain down the Griven, because Griven's not coming to defend the crown. It goes against their duty. You get, Sarai has this huge pendant around her neck. Diem touches it and says, God, I wish I could set you free. It's a golden chain with this huge pendant. Because Sarai has no choice but to serve whoever the crown is. Whether that person is good or bad, aligns with Sarai's values, or doesn't align with it, she's serving. Now, as for what Diem is going to wear to the challenging, Alex and Eleanor collaborated to create a bodysuit. The challenging requires no armor, no weapons, but at least that bodysuit is going to help Diem move around quickly and also has a sensual feel. It hugs her curves and all. So now Diem learns that the horse she thought was Luther's, like now they have come out now, let them go to the arena. And so Diem now sees Aemon on his horse. That white horse that has the golden thread and co that she initially thought was Luther's, because that's what he used to come and carry her that first night. No, it's not Luther's, it's Aemon's. And somehow that makes sense to Diem, because now she knows Aemon, the snake is and everything. She's like, okay, makes sense that it's Aemon that would actually run that little boy over, not Luther. It doesn't make sense that it would be Luther. Do you understand? So Luther now has to explain to her when she's like, that's not your horse. She doesn't tell him the horse backstory, but he now explains that his horse tree showed that night that Diem became queen, so he had to just borrow Aemon's horse. So right now she's just looking at Aemon Amen, who is now keeper of the laws. Amen, who is now responsible for the fate of the half-born children. She feels sterile. Amen is even laughing with his cousins. He's undisturbed by Diem's possible looming death. You know, the ladies who are doing the deep dive of this story, this Curse of the Kindred series, they believe in Amon's character having a redemption arc. But I just believe that people have a choice, just like Taran. Taran is Amon's younger brother that could have bowed under their father. You understand? But Taran said, you guys, screw that. I'm going to stand for what I believe in. I feel like Amon had that same choice, but he did not. And each time be like, you know what my father is like? You know what it's like? What's that? And you're telling me there'll be redemption for that one when we hear eventually learn. Do you get? If you're still at how many years old doing daddy, when do you want to get out of that? Me personally, I don't say redemption arc. I don't know. Like I said, I can be quite mean. I personally believe that some people can just be bad because they choose to be. And when that is the case, please let wisdom guide you. I mean, we can't outright kill people, well? So just shall let wisdom guide you. And somehow, if the day they find you trouble, that day, heaven will judge them. Next thing that happens is that Luther gifts Diem another cobra necklace. Remember, Amen already gifted her one earlier. But after her father died and she unleashed that magic stuff, magic literally melted away everything, including the necklace, around her neck. But Luther right now gives Diem another one. And is that phoenix necklace thing, the sigil of the cobra house. But Luther's don't make more sense because, first of all, he infused it with magic. And the thing about infusing something with magic is that magic you put inside something, you can never get it back. It's gone forever. Do you understand? So that's the sacrifice he did. He's not considering, will they lessen my magic? Will I need more of this magic in the future? He just gave it away. He's not thinking if it will come back to him. And the other thing about this phoenix necklace he gives her is that the one that Amon gave her has blue eyes after the Kobo house. But Luther thoughtfully made it have grey eyes after Diem's eyes. You get? And then at the back of the medallion, it has B representing Belato. That is Diem Belato Kobo, not Diem Kobo. First, do you understand? So now they are now at the arena of the challenge, and with all of Lumnos watching, Luther traces her neck with a finger and now tells her, forgive me. They all need to see it. She's like, see what? He now tells her who will come for them if they dare to come for you. Then he kisses her and the world falls away. Now, this is their second kiss. Their first kiss was at the end of the first spark. And there's been nothing, that suggested physical intimacy until now between them. And there is more substance to this kiss because, first of all, they've had weeks of friendships, traumas they've endured, secrets that they've shared. So now this kiss is hot, not to burn, but to endure, keeping warm. And they're kissing in front of all the thousands watching them, they're not sent. Until Remus, as Luther's father, has to shove them apart, like, Abba. Challenging is about to start. So now Diem walks into arena with Tella at her side. She feels small and insignificant. She hopes that Menelaus challenge me, because she's having hope based on the past 5 crowns of Koboa were unchallenged. Henry isn't present. And Tella is like, why is Henry not present? If the roles were reversed and Henry was the one who was to fight to his death, nothing would keep you Diem from being here for him. So why is he not here? Do you understand? Another fact that Henry does not value Diem as much as she values him. So now Diem has never hurt anyone with her magic. And she plans to use the shield to wear down her opponent. But that won't likely work. Because shields tend to burn your magic faster than you attacking and actually fighting. Now, Diem's heart is still that of a healer that seeks to repair harm, not cause it. Even though she's facing a fight to the death. Now, she's called forward by Remus and she drops Stella's hand. It's time to see if she'll be challenged. She's afraid. She now looks up to pray to Lumnos, like, no matter if you're up there, But before she can even finish the prayer, House Ghislaine, the least of the 20 houses, challenges her. And the person from House Ghislaine that is challenging her is that man from Paradise Row that murdered his son and the mother. Do you understand? The man that triggered Diem into joining the Guardians. That's that man. Diem, the moment she looks at him, she's like, you? I remember you, I'm willing to fight you. But then another house challenges her to House Brynum. House Brynum is the house that Lily, Luther's younger sister, is supposed to marry their son. But Diem fought against it. So one by one, all the houses rise to challenge Diem, except Copper House. They all deem her unworthy of the crown. Even the small houses, the unhoused houses, all of them challenge Diem. This is a humiliation. It's a word declaration. So Auntie gives up. Auntie is just like, no, I mean, they don't want me now. What's the point of fighting? Let me just die, Kokoma. It's shocker that the thing never finished because Luther stands up and challenges her. With that, she feels a pain in her wrist. The bonded bargain she made with Remus that nobody from House Coppola would challenge her. That bonded bargain breaks. All of House Coppola are screaming at Luther. Remus has lost his magic. He now confronts Diem that, why did you tell my son? Why did you tell my son you made a bonded bargain with me? That's why he challenged you. So Remus is afraid that all his enemies will come after him. Now that he has lost his magic, he blames Diem that he should not have told Luther. And she did the night before, when they were together. He was teaching her how to shield. Some secrets were coming out, in the moment. But that's not why Luther challenged her. He did not challenge her because of Remus. He has his reasons, and we shall see them. But Remus is the least of his priority. Why he challenged Diem. So Teller now snaps at Remus that why is he shouting at his sister? That you're the one that is supposed to keep your house in check. That he did not. So why are you blaming my sister for Luther's choice? I'm shocked that Teller is snapping at Remus. Remus is like at least 200 years old. Meanwhile, Luther is cold and unyielding. As for when they're telling him, stand down, tell everybody, he's like, no, he has finished challenging them. These are unspoken rules, actually, about the challenging. It's not like a laid down a stone rule. But then, if people are challenging you at a tournament like this, you as the crown, you are expected to pick the most powerful person, the most powerful challenger. That's Luther. Is a person that Diem is supposed to fight, is expected to fight against. But then, as all the challengers are standing in line, Diem is so angry. Like, Luther, you challenge me. Even if any other person in the world can, she sucker punches him. Jean Hanovere, he's standing now. He's representing House Hanovere and challenging Diem. He now babs that he hopes that Diem's magic is as powerful as her punch. She punches Jean too, spits at his feet. The crowd goes wild. She's now asking Luther, did your promises mean nothing? She's hoping he's wearing another mask, that he didn't actually betray her. But all she's saying on his face is ruthless resolve. He's now telling her, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this to give the kingdom the crown they deserve, me. Even Remy's shocked, like, bros, not be you. Was it not you? I just pulled apart from, nobody is understanding what is happening. It's confusing. As all these things are happening, Diem Sharp pulls Remy aside and says, it's true I cannot have another bonded bargain with you because you no longer have your magic, but I'm willing to make an agreement. Let Eleanor back in the family. Eleanor was chased out because she stood up to one of her uncles, her bully uncles. That's Tyrant's father, Garrett. So Diem is now saying, let her back. And then promise me you'll take care of my brother. Use the guards, your connections, whatever it takes to keep him safe. Promise me that. And if I survive, I won't say a word about our bonded bargain. Your enemies won't ever know you don't have magic. So with this now, Diem now also tells Remy that she doesn't want to fight Luther, actually. That she wants to fight who she chooses. Even though she doesn't care what the other people think that, you're fighting somebody that is not as powerful. That means you're not as powerful. She doesn't care. They've been talking since. Her own is at least let her fight somebody she feels like fighting against. So Remis now announces that Diem can choose any challenger. Oh man, fear as per the challengers that came against her. They start panicking. So they now all rush to Jean. That did you not say that it's you that will fight her? That the rest of us are just supposed to stand, to show that we are against her. So apparently it's House Hanovere that induced the rest of everybody to stand against them. They're like, let's all stand and challenge her as one. Because that way, the House of Cobra cannot punish any one of us. Because they cannot punish all of us now. They have outed House Hanovere as a culprit that induced the other ones. Because House Hanovere has a very powerful stand in the room. So Luther now insists that Diem has to pick him. Or the people would never acknowledge her as queen. That why do you want to fight somebody else? No, now pick me. So Diem now tells him they already don't. And she now asks him, softer, was it ever real? Luther now tells her in this stern voice coming. You don't even know how to use your magic. So Diem channels her heart into destructive fury. And she's now thinking to herself, these people deserve my wrath. I am queen and I'll pick who I want. So she says that out loud. And then when she says that with that ruthless resolve, for the first time, Diem sees a crack in Luther's armor because pride flickers in his eye. But he's gone before she can, really dissect it. So Diem now picks House Ghislaine, that's Ron, for being guilty. That's the Paradise Row guy. Even though people are considering Ron a weak opponent, she picks him. And she also gets to have a moment with Tella in the tent. Last night, in a hastily scrawled note, she laid out all the secrets about her mother and Luther, even her bedfather, what she's seen at the site of their father's mother, the Guardian's plans, a warning about suffers, where she'd hidden a secret stash of gold for him to start a new life abroad in case she doesn't survive. She wrote all those in a letter and said, oh yeah, check so and so place, when you get back to the palace. So now in the privacy of the tent before the challenge begins, Tella has left. Luther busted. After a fiery exchange of words, she admits to him, see, Luther, I can't fight you because I care too much about you, even if you don't care about me. So with this, he presses his forehead against hers and he looks utterly shattered. Because even Tella was trying to tell her something, but she's like, don't tell me anything, about Luther, don't tell me. So it's just now that it dawns on DM that, Luther wants to fight me, to lose to me. He wants to make the magic look like it's coming from me. So it's now this aching moment where she now tells him that she belongs to him. And then they now kiss. And then they step out of the tent holding hands. They reconcile that quickly. If I'm in the audience, I'll be like, what is going on here? Then they now have this smoldering kiss. And he now tells her, burn, my queen. Glow so bright, the darkness trembles. He now steps away and she steps forward. So the sand from the ashes of her house, that day that she was crying, she was wondering what is it her heart really desires, that the compass and her griving took her to where her family house used to be. She collected some sand from that site. So that sand she's holding now, she pours it on the arena. As per, my dad is here with me, and then the challenging begins. So Ron attacks and Diem throws up his shield. She staggers back at the onslaught of spikes, arrows, everything he's sending at her. There are obstacles on the arena. Diem hides behind one. She uses stones and distractions to throw him off kilter, like she's throwing it at him. I mean, he has a shield around him. But by throwing sands and stones at him and it's going through the shield, it now shows her that his shield is only preventing magic-based attacks, but not, physical things that are throwing at somebody. Now, the technique that Diem is using right now to fight Ron, it's Tella's technique. Please, let's not forget that Tella was also taught how to fight. That he has more of a scholar feel doesn't mean that bros can't fight and defend himself. They were raised and trained by the same father. Right now, she's wearing Tella's techniques where he gets her mad so she can get sloppy. Like he's hiding and distracting her. She's like, what is it? Stop doing that. Come out. So by doing so, she gets sloppy and he's able to beat her sometimes. Instead. So she's amusing the crowd by what she's doing. And she's using their laughter as a cover for when she sneaks around the obstacles. Ron is not hearing her because of the crowd's laughter. Eventually, Diem sneaks up on Ron, puts sand into his eyes, and he's now groveling. But she cannot summon any magic to finish him off. She now uses the shield around her to start running, even as dark trenches of magic are chasing her and destroying barricades she hides behind until she is completely surrounded. She's now begging the voice, please don't help me, the voice, please no. Magic, are you not seeing I'm in danger? The voice is quiet. So eventually Ron, pushes her down. She's on the floor. And then she now tells him that Sarai is coming. So when he looks up, as well, fear catch him now. And he looks up. So she gets away. She's trying to get away from him. But her boots slips on mud. And her temple, the side of her head, boy, against a stone. Straight up concussion. So when her focus sharpens, her shield has dropped. And Ron is now sending the killing attack straight to her heart. Darkness surrounds her. So Diem is now transported to the vision of being on the battleground. Corpses are lying all around her. And Luther is standing with his hand on the left side of his chest. Something is different about this vision. Remember, she's had it twice before now. First of all, in that fire, when the fire was about to come down on her one other time. But in this particular one, there is a man in grey beside, in her vision that she can see just to the side. And this man is almost colorless. Everything about him is colorless. His hair, his eyes, his skin. I now ask her to join him to defeat the descendant, to, remove them from this world. She now tells the voice, no, that I am descended too, and I am also mortal, and I'm going to defend both the descended and the mortal. The man is now wrathful and tells her that she's going to die like the rest. Suddenly, there's a blinding explosion of light around him, and then she now hears a voice that says, now, daughter of the forgotten, now you're ready. So suddenly she's back in the arena, but the attack that was meant to finish her off bounces off her. Ron sends more spike, but it doesn't scratch her. She's as confused as him and the rest of the crowd that are watching. Now, from one of her palms, darkness spills out, and from the other, orbs of sparkling lights. She feels like, yo, this is so easy to control. Light, darkness. There's light and shadow, the Lumnos magic. And then it now strikes her then, I did not need to surrender to my power in helpless submission, nor did I need to beg it to come save me. All this time, I have been waiting for the godhood to embrace me, and what I really needed was embrace myself. He sends 2 arrows to Ron's chest, and he releases a barrage of armor against her, but she doesn't need a shield. Because she feels the attacks he's sending at her is feeding her magic. So when he's done, he collapses in exhaustion. So now her light magic binds his wrist and ankles, and shadows encircle him until it's around his neck like a noose. He now starts begging. She now tells him that, see, it's not even fighting me today that condemned you. It's that day at the alley when I asked you to show mercy, but you did not. So she says all the things she would say, as far, why did you not show mercy then? You should learn to, all those kind of things. Eventually, she decides to show him mercy and ask him not to take an innocent life again. Because she understands the power Grace of Descended, having been among them for the 30 days or so. And she wants to show a different part. There are bulls from the crowd that are like, no, we don't like you to show mercy. It's a fight to the death. Die. So when she turns towards where Luther is, she expects amusement or smugness. But instead, Luther is gazing at her like she's the embodiment of hope fulfilled, like she's the answer to every question he has ever asked, the harmony to every song he's ever sung. He's looking at her like she is the sun and the moon and the stars, all the lights in the world shining apart for him out of the lonely dark. But Ron, behind Diem, now says, this is a fight to the death, and launches at her with a weapon. You're not supposed to be in this fight with a weapon. And this weapon tears through her suit, scraps her flesh. But with a whisper of thought, a silver light, pick, that makes Ron vanish out of existence, ashes and burnt flesh. The crowd is now celebrating. Yay, that's what they want. DM is angry. She now says, they want a show? I'll show them a show. She launches into the air. She is levitating. The arena grows dark, like stark black. Day becomes night. The people are afraid. DM is a sheen of white in the dark. She now reaches for the forging magic because, in the arena, there is a barrier that protects those that are sitting and watching what's happening from the magic of those fighting. But then DM reaches into the forging magic of the land, pulls down those barriers, and now makes her magic, the shadow magic, to wrap vines around every throat of Descended. Thousands of people there. Listen, her magic goes to wrap around their neck like a noose. As anybody does in your thoughts, you're dead. That's what she's doing. She's showing them power. Now, one by one, she now starts asking the houses if they find her worthy. No one can dare say they don't find her worthy. Even Mate of the Hanover house, triumph. You know the fear? She lowers herself to the ground, approaches Luther, pulls down the vine holding his neck so that they're at face level because of he's taller than her now. And then she now asks him, and House Cobra. He kisses her, a reverent kiss, and now says, House Cobra will kneel, my queen. She now releases him, takes his hand up to the days where Remis and Garrett are. They don't look too happy. They don't look happy, Seth. But then they hold their tongue. Good for them. Very wise. She now declares she's no longer unchallenged, and her reign starts today. Sora's cry in the distance. All kneel. Now, Luther and Diem are in the boat to the Coriel Island for her coronation. Diem can't take Sarai because Gravens are not allowed on the island. In fact, the fortress Graven died once he landed on the Coriel soil during the Blood War 200 years ago. Luther is upset when they are talking, and then Diem tells Luther that her mother was feeding her flame red powder for years. That was why her magic didn't come out. Now, on this boat, Luther now also shares his deepest secret with Diem, that he's actually half mortal, like her. Who guessed that before now? I don't think I guessed it until I read it. He explains that Floriel, his father's mortal lover, was his real mother. What happened was that his father got a vision that he would have a powerful son, presumed heir of the throne of Lumnos. Lumnos sent Remis a vision that he's going to have a powerful son that would be heir. But around that period, the person that got pregnant was not Remis's wife, but rather his lover, Floriel. So for this reason, he carried his wife and Floriel to the countryside. They stayed there for a year So that's where Florio gave birth. They passed off the child as the child of his descended wife. That's Havana. And then after Florio gave birth, they sent her to a mental institution to suffer, to discredit anything she would ever have to say. But Florio was determined based on her child, her baby. She escaped from that institution. So it took her months to go through the realms to come to Lumnos from Sopho's. And she now found Luther in school. Luther was much younger than his teenage years. So when she came to him, she brought flowers. Please take note of that flower stuff. As she met him in school, she told him everything, all the truth. So much of his life now made sense, including Havana's hatred. That is Ramsey's wife. The person supposed to be his mother, that's his stepmother. She outwardly hates Luther. So Luther was young. So after learning the truth, he wasn't in a position where he knew how to hide the hatred for his parents. So his father noticed the shift in him. Luther was hiding Florio in one of the unused rooms. He was gathering money, biding his time so that he could escape with his mother. And Remis, unfortunately, now followed Luther one time and saw Florio. He was going to kill her, but Luther jumped in the way. That's how he got the scars, that magic that split his body in half. And yet, when Remis saw that he had struck his son, he did not say, let me have sense and calm down. No, he still wanted to kill Florio again. So Florio now threw herself still over Luther to protect him. So that's the kind of love that this mother and child have, or had. Florio and Luther, they were both willing to die for each other. So Florio threw herself over her son to protect him. And that's when Remis killed her. So now the goddess Lumnos now appeared and was only able to save Luther, who was not quite dead. And now showed Luther a vision of himself serving a powerful grey-eyed queen. The queen did not have a face. In Luther's vision of the battlefield, a faceless Diem, just the grey eyes that he's seeing. That queen is wearing a crown that Luther has never seen before. You understand? In the next 2 episodes, you will see why Luther has never seen that crown before. He doesn't recognize that crown as belonging to any one realm in particular. So now they arrive on the island of Corel, and Diem feels drained the moment her feet touches the soil, like drained of all her magic, because descended magic does not work on Corel. Now, it's disconcerting, really. That's when Diem understands why it is that descended hardly leave that realm. Because, if you feel like this, like your magic is drained, you wouldn't want to leave your realm. It's that empty feeling. Before she came for this coronation on this island, the message that they sent to Diem was, be prepared to bleed. But she's now wondering, how? How is she going to bleed on this island? Diem is bothered, though. Based on the boats that they used to come to this Corel is associated with the Guardians, That time she let them in now and they saw the boat canal. Now, this island was also where mortal and descended fought on almost equal footing during Blood War. While I say almost equal footing, the descended didn't have the magic, but they still had their strength. The first other crown she meets is a Faunus queen. Now, on the island, the crowns don't exchange names. They just go by the name of the realms that they are ruling over. So Faunus goes by Faunus, Diem is going by Lumnos here. Everybody here calls them Lumnos. You get that kind of thing. So the Faunus queen. Faunus is a realm of beasts and birds. This queen can speak to the Graven. So now Diem notices the red wildflowers, okay? But she doesn't make sense of what they are. Like, what are these red wildflowers growing on this realm, on this island? Next person that Diem meets is the king of photos. He doesn't even spare her a glance. He just tells her, you cost me two of my most valuable assets. That's her parents who were in the army, but then they left when she was born. So the Phothos king turns away before Diem can ask him anything. Phonos now tells Diem, don't take it personally. If you're not giving him someone to kill, he's not interested. So now 3 crowns have met. That is the Lumnos, Photos, and Phonos, right? So now Diem is alone, sort of, because they've walked ahead of her. And she now hears whispers coming from the places of those overgrown grasses and the red flowers. So now she steps off the gravel path that the Photos king asked her to stay on. Like, don't leave this gravel path, just follow it. You see the temple. But she steps off it because she hears what sounds like conversation. But then when she asks, is anybody there? Nothing. It now dawns on her, hold on a minute, these wildflowers, they're so familiar because they're flame roots. This is where flame roots is gotten from, these flowers. So it now makes sense that it's on the island of Corel. Where descended magic don't work. That's obviously where they get the flower that makes descended. If people take the powder from that flower, their descended magic won't work. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Now, Photos and Lumnos don't see eye to eye. So it's quick to DM that somehow that she doesn't like this Photos person as much as she thought this Photos king. DM is upset that her and Photos are kind of rubbing each other wrong. But two other queens, that's I think the Aboros queen and the Phonos queen, now assure DM that don't worry, that the meeting of the crowns is always full of dramatics and fighting. It's not like we come and we're all peaceful. Do you understand? So it's normal. Don't take it personally. So eventually DM comes upon the Kindred's temple. He had looked imposing from afar, but standing at its base, it is outright ominous. The towering obelisk that's stretching into the sky like the bars of a cage. Each is topped with a flame-lit cauldron. DM recognizes the Umbros Queen's voice when the woman speaks behind her. But when she turns and looks at Doma, she's like, yo, this is not their parents. Like, she recognizes her voice now from Fortune Day when the woman came. This woman is beautiful, ebony skin. She's wearing just enough to appear decent. The Sophos crown, the person that is kind of like the leader of the meetings. Not like the leader of them, just leader of the meetings. It's not saying, why were you not present on Fortune Day? Why did you send your blood? We only allow Lumnos to send it because he was sick. That time that King Uther was sick, that Luther had to bring a vial of his blood just so that they can pour on the stone to renew the magic, the fortune magic. Apparently, the Umbros Queen did the same thing because she needed to be somewhere else. That is, she needed to be at Lumnos to see Diem. Obviously, it's only her and Diem that knows this. But she just dismisses it. Now, the Sophos king is now educating everybody. Now Sophos is a realm of knowledge and co. So it makes sense that he's the one who's now educating everybody on why they are guarded, and mentions that the Heartstone is the descended most protected jewel, because if the Heartstone is destroyed, so too shall our realms crumble and fall. But even as the Heartstone is just there, like this rough hewn stone, like that is giant, like looks like granite and all that. That even as it's looking undefended, it's very powerful. It cannot be broken. It cannot be shot at. It cannot. So you understand, it's quite powerful. He's down talking. The Sophos king is still talking. That the kindred bid us to renew their spell by shedding our blood into the Heartstone on 2 occasions. Once a year on Fortune Day, and once upon the coronation of each new crown. Now every crown stands at their archway. Cauldrons are burning except that of Lumnos. They come forward and with the opalescent stone, they cut themselves. Each drop of their blood is like magic on the stone. Now, the magic of the Heartstone has actually been troubling DM since she got there, but she's been trying to maintain a facade. So now when her hand is cut, like when she cuts her own hand, clouds rolling, the cauldron fires of everyone there goes out. And then darkness, pure darkness. Next thing, the stone that is supposed to be blue after her realm, because when you drop your blood on it, if you're from Photos, it goes red. If you're from Aboros, it goes green. From Lumnos, it's supposed to go blue. But the stone, why is it grey? Sophos Crown is now accusing her of being an imposter. So she accidentally fists her hand to no, I'm not. So with her fist in her hand, more of her blood drops on the stone, causing thunder, a bit lightning from somewhere to split right through the center of the stone. And just like that, the defensive magic of the Heartstone vanishes. So with all of this thing, DM suddenly is trying to defend herself. Next thing, she sees her own mom, who has been gone for the past 8 months, running to her. There's an explosion and everything goes dark. Now we see, was it epilogue? Yes. From Orali's POV. Orali is DM's mother. She's actually been on this island of Korea, planning and restocking on flame powder to hide DM for longer. This powder might hide DM's power, but it will not prevent DM from not aging. DM is still descended, but already is like, that time has not come when it comes. Because in her mind, everything is still normal at home. I mean, 8 months before, year by year, things used to be normal. Nothing changes. You get, it has not dawned on her that anything could have changed in the past 8 months. That her daughter is queen, her husband is dead, their home is gone. All those things. It's not on her mind. She's just looking forward to going home, to seeing everybody. She's just happy about it. Her mission will be fulfilled here. Then Luther sneaks up on her and now tells her that he actually brought her here without knowing of her plans, because they're both allies, snaking out all those model children. They were actually the ones that DM overheard when she thought she heard people talking. Orali is shocked that, Luther, why are you not king? But if you are here, that means the new queen gave you permission to be here. Luther is telling Orali, if you want your daughter to be safe, come with me. And Orali now said, oh, what? You're going to hurt my daughter? Luther is like, I will never hurt your daughter. She's shocked at his conviction, because in the past, where she used to threaten him that she's going to spill his secret, he used to threaten her back that will hurt your family. But now his tone has changed, and he's now saying, no, I would never do that. I'll never hurt your daughter. I was like, Since when? When did this one change? What happened since I was gone? He still is now asking her, come with me to protect your daughter. But she's like, she can't. Because in her head, she has come too far and needs to protect many innocent lives. So with this, she severs his tendons, uses her knife to sever his tendons, so that he falls. Because his extended healing is still going to kick in to heal that. But at least to be a while, let her do what she needs to do. She runs off. She's at the back of the temple towards the north where the Montiel's king will be positioned at. And the Montiel's king is kind of like the oldest among all of them. He's a very old man. So that's the position that O'Reilly sets off the bombs. She's there. Leaves were concealing a long cord of fuse. O'Reilly now struggles to lighten that cord. She lights it up, she runs to the shelter, and Vance is there. They've been working together for many years. And then he now searches her face for any sign that she knows who the new crown of Lumnos is. O'Reilly is clueless, why would I know the new crown? What concern me? But then she now sees Diem in the temple. And then she now starts running, throws caution to the way she's running, praying to the gods, and then the explosion hits. In fact, Vance was trying to stop her from running there, but her daughter. So that's where this novel ends. But we have a bonus, or two bonus chapters. One is from Diem's perspective. The other is from Luther's perspective. Now, these bonus chapters came after the challenging. Diem won the challenging, and her friends are having dinner, her close circle. That's the setting of these bonus chapters. Now, let's quickly see it and round off with today's episode. Thank you for being with me so far. Diem is with her inner circle, having a celebratory dinner after the challenging. Woohoo! Now it's been cemented. She's queen. There's a long line of Cobra cousins at the door trying to be besties too. But Pet from the house of Bennett, the weapons house, he's there keeping those cousins out. Pet is the only guard of Diem's that is not Cobra. Now for this dinner, Diem is wearing a sparkly red as a middle finger to the gods, the descended, and everyone who believes she will die at the challenger. Remember, descended wear red to funerals. So Diem is wearing it as well. I'm wearing it to a celebration. Because all of them were thinking her funeral will be next. But it is not, obviously. Now her friends are acting out what went down at the challenge with Taran playing Diem. Tella is reluctantly playing Run, and Lily is a narrator. Lily now narrates that Diem played on trick on Run and on everybody watching by raising an invisible shield. So when he attacked her on the floor, the killing blow, nothing happened. But Diem knows she did not raise the shield, and that Run's magic had seemed to be refueling her own. She doesn't understand what happened, but she doesn't say anything there, just observing stuff. It still dawns on Diem that someone died today, you get, and she doesn't really want that part of the story drawn out, that part of the reenactment done. She wants the acting to get to the end, because she doesn't want to make light of a person's death, even if that person was a wizard like Ron. Taran is protesting that your life is much more than his, and Diem doesn't believe that. She doesn't believe her life is what above any other person's own. Thankfully, dear Luther, knowing Diem's heart, now sternly tells Taran, your queen commands it. So with this, they launch into the finale of when Diem levitated in the arena. Taran stands on a chair. Alex makes it go invisible. Lilia and Eleanor now make sparkly light magic form around Taran. Luther is not satisfied and said, nah. If it has to imitate what happened there, let's go all out. He now releases a torrent of magic that makes the room go inky black. He creates a graven form from light magic that is hovering just above the chandelier. Illusion of audience in the arena bow, and Diem also spills out her magic to join his. He's surprised and delighted too. Their godhoods are kind of flirting with each other. Godhoods, like the thing that urges you to use your magic. Their godhoods are flattered because one of them are powerful magic users, so their auras feel each other out. Now later, Taran drags Luther off to get a drink. After Diem is like, okay, Luther, go have a drink. You're not standing on guard, okay? Diem now tells Eleanor that I have a favor to ask you, and you have to agree before I tell you. Eleanor's like, okay, you're my queen, I agree. And then Diem now says, congratulations, you're my regent, ma'am. And I know he's like, no. I signed up to give you gossip and tell you which dress to wear, not to rule a realm or be in charge of a realm, no. Then Alex now has to chime in. You know everyone, and you've got good relationships within the family and in all the other houses. You would know exactly who to ask for help. And you are humble enough to listen to them. You proved your other day that you're also brave enough to stand up to our uncles. So Alex now says, I agree with Her Majesty. You're the right person for the job. And let me tell you, the right person for the job never feels like they're the right person. But the people who are less deserving will snatch it up. You understand? So take that position. And honestly, this validation coming from Alex might mean more to Eleanor than Diem's validation. Because Alex and Eleanor, although they are cousins, they've never really had cause to be close until Diem came into the picture. But Eleanor has always respected Alex. And for Alex to say these words to her, it means so much. Now, Luther can't even be a choice when it comes to regent. Why? Because if Diem were to die, it's expected that Luther will be the next king. And if he's king, he cannot be regent. And God forbid, Remits can't keep being regent. God, no. Another thing is, if Diem were also in danger, Luther is not going to be busy taking care of the kingdom. He will go for Diem first. And the regent should not put the crown above the realm. So it just makes sense that, no, Luther can't fit that position, you understand? So it has to go to you, Eleanor. That latter part of, Luther abandoning the kingdom to go save Diem now has Diem considering, that means somebody else should be High General. Alex would make a fine one. Now, Taran and Luther are officially on the council tour because Diem now finally appoints them as advisors, but they don't have any assigned roles yet. Taran is so happy to learn that Diem has taken into his advice. So when he hugs her, he now whispers to her that she's not going to find a better partner than Luther. Because, in the last episode, Taran was urging Diem to get together with Luther, and that was that was the last thing on Diem's mind. But right now, she's telling him that, hey, we've already kind of gotten together, okay? In a coded language, as I took your advice, but Taran gets what she's saying, and now whispers that, yeah, you won't find a better partner than him, and the other way around, so he won't find a better partner than you. Now, he starts to talk about other things about how that Luther is interested in, the thing between... Taran talks very dirty. I have to tone it down for the sake of this podcast. But before he can finish what he wants to spill out, Diem stops his mouth with bread roll. And then all of them raise a toast to her, to my queen, long may she reign. Now, from Luther's perspective, let's round up those bonus chapters. Taran, Eleanor, Lily are very drunk. They're on the table, dancing and singing this song that Diem taught them. Because they're like, so what kind of songs do marshals sing in the taverns when they're drunk? Like taverns, like bars, local bars. Diem chose one about a descendant that has very colorful lyrics about descendant being traitors, wanting to get in your bed, and those type of things. Being airheads, just very colorful lyrics. These three, Taran, Eleanor, Lily, they're singing it, they're drunk, and Stella is just on standby, watching Lily. Each time she misses a bit and tries to fall, Stella is ready to catch her just in case. That's his walking. Now, this is from Luther's perspective that we're seeing. Now, Alex and Pets are talking in the corner. He's no longer standing guard at the door. Perhaps the cousins have given up and left. When Diem notices Luther looking at him like, this one that you're just standing one side, she wants to go to him, but Taran comes up to her, loops an arm through hers, and takes her dancing too. She happily goes with him. So Luther is just taking in this scene, people he cares about in one place and happy. He's someone who's always had to hold back pieces of himself from those he cares about to protect them. Because remember, the last time he was showing his parents hatred, his mother died because of it. He had to learn to be stoic. But right now, in as much as he's someone who likes to shelter himself from the world, not let his expressions be seen, Diem sees right through him every time. He tries to be like, I'm gonna be stoic so that my loved ones would not know everything and they'll be fine. Diem is like, no, let's know everything. We'll still love you. We'll still fight with you. We'll be safe, okay? Funny thing is that Luther, just like his sister Lily, actually did not mind getting engaged to Ileana when his father suggested it. He didn't mind it. Why? He saw it as a way to protect his cousins. Because, first of all, Luther has not considered his life as his own, ever. After that vision from Lumnos and after Lumnos saved him, his whole life had just been dedicated to serving the Grey Eye Queen. He did not think he would ever find love or anything, So he just been seeing his life as not his own, a life of service. So that's why when you're like, okay, marry Ileana, it's not like he was not counting on happiness. It's just something he did in a way to protect his cousins, because oftentimes when a couple would cross the wrong kind of area, they'll come up dead. So their houses have been having icks and all that. So he thought that by being engaged to Ileana, it would reduce the death rate of his cousins. So being here and seeing all the people he loves are here, he didn't have to make that bonded bargain that he must marry Ileana and, or that stupid thing. So now Luther offers up light and shadow magic to Lumnos. Let a piece of magic go, just like he did when he gave Diem that present. Let it go as an offering. Magic he can never get back. So Diem approaches. She is not a believer like him. Like, she doesn't believe in Lumnos, so even though Luther really does. Seeing how Diem was guided to this point in time. I mean, he sees the hand of Lumnos in it. Even though Diem is like, just life. It happened. I prayed to her. She did not answer me. Did she not answer in other ways? So he's not offended by her lack of faith. As Luther says something that I find so sweet. Diem may not believe in Lumnos, but Lumnos believes in her. This is a whole scene where he asks her to get on her knees for him. I think it was a conversation that has to do with, like, after Luther says what he says, that you may not believe in Lumnos, but Lumnos believes in you. She just says, well, she's not going to be getting on her knees for Lumnos. The only person she'll probably get on her knees for is Luther. So Luther is like, oh, okay, get on your knees then. And he's actually expecting her to not get on her knees because she's an alpha female. But she shocks him by getting on her knees. So he has this cold glass of drink that he puts between her thighs, like her knees, and slides up her thighs. It's a gesture that is meant to be very flirtatious. And he now tells her, okay, pray to Lumnos. Just do it for me. So when she's just like, she rolls her eyes and she's like, okay. She's still in the middle of trying to pray, trying to say something to Lumnos, when Luther grabs her from under her thighs to sit astride him. And now they're being touchy, kind of. They're being touchy, actually. She's sitting astride him, for crying out loud, until Luther hears his sister squeal from behind. That's Lily squealing. You know, that kind of... As far as she and Teller too are being touchy behind them, Lily and Teller, Diem has to kiss Luther to keep him from turning around to see whatever is going on there between their two younger siblings. Then she tells him that, actually, I have something to tell you. I went to see Henry before the challenging, but he wasn't home. Oh, Luther is so jealous. Diem is now opening up to Luther that he wasn't there. He knew I was going to die, but he wasn't there. Luther is the only person right now that Diem is opening up to about the fact that Henry being gone on a day she was supposed to die, it hurts like hell. Tears are even in her eyes. She's even crying. Do you understand? She now says that, I know you may not like that guy, but he was my best friend for so long when no one else was. I think it's making Luther feel like he's jealous that Henry got to be that person, to suit Diem's fears, to be her best friend. Right now, Luther wants to be the one Diem sees in her future, the only one. And also, Luther low-key feels like killing Henry for making Diem cry. But the only thing he just says calmly is, I'm so sorry. You deserve better than that. So Diem agrees and said, yes, I found you. Oh. So she now suggests that he get away and he carries her. So when he carries her, he now bellows a good night to everybody. Taryn is like, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And I know he's like, there's nothing you wouldn't do. Do you understand? Like, what kind of advice is that? On the walk to her room, on the walk to Diem's room, that with Luther carrying her, Diem falls asleep in Luther's arms. The guards at Diem's door, they let him in when he gives them that mean prince look. But Sarai, in as much as Luther carried Diem inside, Sarai still chokes her head, that her dragon head inside the room. And the prince Prince Luther has to offer himself up to Sarai in terms of Sarai looks at him, sniffs him, judges his intentions. And that's the thing with Sarai. Sarai never lets her guard down. No, she's not like a human being that'll be like, you've been faithful for us the past 20 years now. You know, I trust you. Sarai is not like that. Every single time you come before her, she's going to judge your intention. You must win her trust. Because people's intentions can change like the wind. And her charge can just be in danger for her letting down her guard for 1 second. So I really like that about Grievance, don't you? Now, after Sarai checks that Luther is trustworthy today, she withdraws her head back to her perch. Now, Luther lays Diem down, pulls off her shoes, makes a fire to warm the room. But when it comes to finding something warm for her to wear, the only thing her wardrobe has is scraps. Luther has to pull off his sweater that he's wearing underneath his doublets. And he now puts it on her. And doublets is like jackets, all those fancy fine jackets that noblemen wear after they worn plenty things. You understand? The sweater he's wearing underneath that doublet, he puts it on her and he tries to leave, but she holds him back sleepily. She holds his hand and then tells him, stay. She reminds him that he said he's not going to not be by her side when she needs him, that she needs him now. So he pulls off his shoes and his weapon's belt and slides in bed next to her. He inhales her scent, and she notices. He now tells her, you smell like flowers, a special kind that someone gave me a long time ago. Remember, his mom gave him flowers. And to her, he smells like the forest. And he's like, in his mind, strange, because he hardly spends any time in Lumnos forest. She now says that the smell of the forest is like coming home to her. Because remember, they lived on the edge of the forest somehow. So the smell of the forest is home. It smells like coming home to Diem. So it now dawns on Luther that the smell of flowers also has the same meaning for him. You get? And you've already heard the story now. And the whole story he shared with her on their boat ride to Korea. So you know where we ended things right now? There was an explosion. The Guardians may or may not have taken Coral Island. They may or may not be casualties among the crowns. So we shall see what happens after. So that's a huge cliffhanger. Explosion. What happened now? O'Reilly was running. What? You understand? What happened? I want to know. What about Luther? They cut his leg. What about Vance then? What did they do to her? We shall see in the next episode. See you next Thursday, neighbor. Thank you so much for being with me today. Please, if you're listening on Spotify, rate the podcast. If you're listening on Apple, please rate and write a review. I love you so much. And if you know anyone who would enjoy this show for any reason, please just send them a link to join the Discord or Telegram. I know I have made significant effort to publish that by the time this podcast is going live. So please, let's join. Let's have a community, and where I send questions and tidbits and what story we would like to hear next, So I think those things will be really fun. Let's have game nights. I don't know how to do all those things, but we shall learn together. So thank you so much. Shout out to Texie, who reached out to me after the last episode to say, hey, if so-and-so did this, they deserve to be blacklisted. And hey, why is the commenting off? And I'm like, the commenting is off for listeners in Nigeria. Don't mind them. They're always trying to marginalize us. But we come out on top all the time, and it makes us, innovative, find other ways. So those are all the things. Thank you so much again and again and again for listening. I love you. I appreciate you so, so, so much, Nibber. See you next episode. Bye.